It was the attack that no one could ever forget.
It happened to me in front of the world.
Why are we digging up this whole story now?
This is much more serious than any of us had anticipated.
There's a story here that's going to save someone's life.
We dug into Krис Brown and Rianna's story and found horrific details.
They quote him as saying, "Now I'm really going to kill you."
Police found facial contusions and bite marks.
The most shocking scandal of the decade.
I remember when the pictures came out.
I saw those pictures. I think it's BS.
It wasn't taken serious.
It's just like a petty, stupid fight.
The man hits you once,
Everybody's gonna say he's a monster.
he will hit you again.
What if I am supposed to help him?
She's sending the wrong message to the young fan.
Now they're victim blaming.
It was embarrassing, it was humiliating.
The tabloids were going crazy.
Chris Brown and Rihanna.
Chris Brown and Rihanna.
I was more concerned about him.
Rihanna was aware of Chris's past.
We have just received some of the actual filing documents.
It was ugly.
I have some things that I think will really shock you.
This happened to me, and it can happen to anybody.
This is the real-life story behind the tabloids.
I caught him in a lie, and he wouldn't tell the truth. His back was up against the wall. It escalated into him being violent towards me. He had no soul in his eyes. It was ugly.
The crazy thing is that after this, she actually went back to him.
She went back to him?
A couple of weeks later,
Why would she go back to him?
the only way we'd really be able to understand that is if we kind of take a look back at their relationship and how they actually got started. This kind of gives us a look at the beginning of their relationship. Rihanna and Chris went public towards the end of 2008. They're at award shows together. They seem happy, but the reality was very different.
To fall in love with your best friend,
It was no other feeling like it. Our power that we had at that age was dangerous.
the more in love we became, the more dangerous we became for each other, equally as dangerous.
Dangerous how?
Well, the night of the assault, Chris and Rihanna were spotted at a pre-Grammys party.
Where did it come from, that moment in the car?
So driving back home, Rihanna sees a text in Chris's phone, and it's actually from his ex-manager. And it's reported by the police that a text was from a woman who Brown had a previous sexual relationship with.
So he had a relationship with his ex-manager.
That is what was in the police report. She sees the text message, they get to arguing, and then the assault happens.
Award nominee has just posted bail on criminal.
He's in a lot of trouble right now.
Chris turned himself in, and then the media goes crazy.
I remember when the pictures came out.
They were leaked. It really kind of shows how significant this assault was. But for some reason, it wasn't taken serious.
Beat a bitch down.
If you name Krис Brown, beat a bitch down.
How can you make fun of her for something so traumatic?
People were making all these jokes, but the police report shows the severity of what happened. He shoved her head against the passenger window. When she turned to face Brown, he punched her in the left eye. Rihanna's mouth filled with blood. He bit her left ear. She tried to call her assistant for help, and he said, "You just did the stupidest thing ever. Now I'm really gonna kill you."
It's crazy like how difficult it is even hearing that.
She lived it. You know, we're just reading about it.
Nobody felt what I felt. It happened to me, and it happened to me in front of the world. It was embarrassing, it was humiliating, it was hurtful. I lost my best friend. Like, everything I knew switched in a night. It became a circus.
Star magazine stated, "It's not just because she's hopelessly in love with him, it's also because she provoked the attack." Now they're victim blaming. Let's call it what it is. A fan commented on MTV News, "I don't think Chris would just hit a girl like that. She had to do something or say something out of the way for him to really hurt her."
The craziest part to me is that people were defending him. When you think about what actually happened to her, the violence that she went through in the assault, and then having it like flip back to people making fun of it and like people making jokes about it.
So as mentioned before, she went back to Chris. And then when Diane Sawyer asked her about it, this is what she said.
It was confusing for me. I was still attached by love. What if I am supposed to help him?
But after that, she's getting messages from fans. She felt like she had to do the right thing.
When I realized that my selfish decision for love could result into some young girl getting killed, I couldn't be held responsible for telling them, go back.
He pleaded guilty to 1 account of assault, 5 years probation, 180 days community service, and Rihanna was granted a restraining order. So now Rihanna and Chris, they can't speak, they can't communicate. Chris Brown started dating Karrueche Tran, and Rihanna went on, she actually started dating Drake. But in February 2011, the restraining order was eased, and Rihanna and Chris were allowed to be in contact again. They're able to contact each other, but things are still seeming to be good. She became friends with A$AP Rocky. She went on tour with him. She was making movies. So she was really kind of getting back to herself. But December 2012, they were spotted at a basketball game together.
Like, how could you look so peaceful with someone knowing what happened?
It was a weird, confusing space to be in, because as angry as I was, as angry and hurt, I just felt like he made that mistake because he needed help, and like, who's gonna help him? Everybody's gonna say he's a monster without looking at the source, and I was more concerned about him.
She said he needed help. Like, what is she talking about?
Rihanna was aware of Chris's past. Chris actually had an abusive stepdad. In 2007, he told Giant magazine he was terrified. He thought that one day he would go to jail for killing his stepdad. Rihanna can actually relate to that. Her dad was abusive towards her mom.
He broke her nose one time. She never went to the hospital. Domestic violence is not something that people want anybody to know, so she just would hide it in the house.
She saw her mom not saying anything, and then she finds herself in that same position. The tabloids were going crazy. Why would she take him back? Oh, is she pregnant? She's spiraling. Her family and friends, they're turning against her. But in an article, this is what she had to say. After being tormented for so many years, being angry and dark, I'd rather just live my truth and take the backlash. I can handle it. It's different now. We don't have those same types of arguments anymore.
I just don't understand why she would go back to him the second time.
Rihanna opened up in a Vanity Fair article. The interviewer asked her, did she think that she was going to be able to change him? 100%. I was very protective of him. I felt that people didn't understand him. So she really thought that Chris had changed, but by the summer, they actually broke it off for good this time. But you realize in that situation, you're the enemy. Sometimes you just have to walk away. She took ownership of that, and she had to move on. Rihanna actually said that when Chris attacked her, there was no soul. Seeing somebody and you kind of don't see anything past them. She's saying, oh, it's not him, but it seems like maybe it was. Because after their breakup, he just kind of kept spiraling. His ex at that point, Karrueche Tran, she also filed a restraining order on him. He threatened he was gonna kill her.
He didn't change.
Chris actually came out with a documentary. He was speaking about the attack.
And it's just like a petty, like, stupid fight, bro. And I'm just realizing it. I'm like, look, what the hell am I doing, bro? Like, what are you, like, you honestly doing this in the car right now? Like, what are we doing?
They clearly had such different experiences in that moment.
And despite the tabloids and how they portrayed the story, it seems like Rihanna's coming up on top. She's a billionaire business mogul. She's confident, she's unapologetic, she has the makeup line, she has the clothing line, the lingerie. Yeah. She's dating again. A$AP Rocky, our lovely friend from tour, she's dating. And
it's true, that's the guy
That's the guy.
It's so well-deserved.
After 10 years, yeah, they are having a baby.
She's living her best life now.
Living her best life. And
the Rihanna that we love. Like, look how beautiful
amazing.
She looks. Oh,
she's like glowing.
Yeah. It's never too late to make that change. She broke the pattern